Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. A story about what happens when the help decides to help themselves. We pick up our story one fine spring morning at the Thistlewood Estate, the family home of Reginald and Beatrice Golston, where one morning over breakfast...
Reginald?
Yes, Beatrice?
I was thinking about inviting a few people over for a garden tea party to herald the coming of spring. What do you think?
Pass the marmalade, will you please?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Nothing too extravagant. Maybe 50 to 100 patrons of the community and their closest friends. A smorgasbord by the pool and a string quartet in the foyer. I'll let the help know.
Pass me the milk there.
Of course.
Blast! We're out of milk! What the devil is going on? Jeremy? Jeremy!
Yes, my lord.
The lady and I are out of milk.
Yes, my lord.
Fill the jug and see to it we don't run out again. There's a good fellow.
Yes, my lord.
Then bring the Bentley around. I need to go out and shoot something before lunch.
Yes, my lord. Would my lord prefer the silver Bentley or the black Bentley?
Black, of course. This is not a formal affair. Really, such impertinence.
And tell Marguerite I'd like to talk to her about organising a small tea party.
Yes, me lady. Your milk, sir. Milk? Oh, never mind that. I've had sufficient refreshment.
Thank you, sir. I'll fetch the gun.
Back in the kitchen, Marguerite is cleaning up after breakfast.
All day I wash, I clean, I chop, I cook. Breakfast, Marguerite. Tea, Marguerite. Wipe my mouth and lick the cloth clean, Marguerite. Sometimes I could...
Madam would like to discuss arrangements for a garden party with you.
You can tell Madam she can sit in her garden and...
Small garden party.
Small my left nipple.
I'm taking his lordship hunting this morning.
Hunting?
In the Bentley.
Later that morning, out in the field...
Don't stop there, Jeremy. The flock will see you. So sorry, my lord.
Did you pick the pellets like I asked you?
Yes, my lord.
There's a good fellow. Here, you stay there and clean this while I move into position over there.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, Reginald. 2 more feet this way should do it. Oh, what beauties. Right, aim straight. Deep breath and... Jeremy! What are you doing? What indeed? Has Reginald come to an untimely end? Will Beatrice find satisfaction in her garden party? And just what lies behind Marguerite's sinister laugh? For the answers to these questions and more, tune in to Mutiny at the Estate next week on Breakfast with Andy. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. In last week's episode, we met Beatrice and Reginald Golston, an aristocratic couple who live on their country property, Thistlewood Estate, tended to by their faithful servants Jeremy and Marguerite. As Beatrice started rolling out plans for a small garden party, Jeremy accompanied Reginald on a small hunting mission, which came to an abrupt end. We pick up the story as Beatrice discusses plans with Marguerite.
I'd like the flower pot filled with poppies, Marguerite. They always make one feel so high-spirited.
Yes, madam.
And please see to it that those obnoxious children stay away. Heaven knows where they keep popping up from.
You mean Little Mariette and Julio?
Whatever pet names you give them, they just don't suit the surroundings.
Yes, madam.
Now, the guest list.
Would madam like topiary balls at the entrance?
Topiary balls? Well, yes, that would be nice. Now,
And what about a nice big bowl of punch at the front door as the guests arrive?
punch! Yes, lovely. Now,
Canapes?
I beg your pardon?
Would Madam like canapes to be served on arrival or in the garden?
Oh, in the garden, I think. We can't have too much congestion at the front door.
Yes, Madam will be quite congestion enough.
The guest list,
Beatrice,
Marguerite.
come quickly.
Oh, really? What is it, Wedgie? Goodness! Whatever has happened?
It's Jeremy. I left him alone to clean my rifle and...
You don't mean...
Yes. Full of buckshot, I'm afraid. Damn fool wandered right in the path of my aim. Well, don't just stand there, Marguerite. Get some tweezers and a bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Yes, master.
Come now, Jeremy. To the kitchen.
Yes, my lord.
But Reginald, I need Marguerite to plan my party.
Well, stay in the kitchen with them then. You can talk to her while she pulls the pellets out. There, Jeremy. Sit there.
Sit, sir.
Oh, yes, of course. Bend over for Marguerite and let her at it.
You can take notes for Marguerite while she tends to your...
Holy ass!
Yes. Well, maybe we can continue this when you're finished here, Marguerite.
Yes, madam.
Madam and I will repair to the drawing room. We'll have tea there when you're ready. Then you can take the rest of the morning off, Jeremy.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Goldstone. Make tea, Marguerite. Pull bullets out of Jeremy's behind, Marguerite. Eat every man and his dog, Marguerite. Stay still. It's hard enough with one eye.
Meanwhile, in the drawing room...
Does Marguerite seem a little out of sorts to you, Wedgie?
Out of sorts? What the devil do you mean?
Well, I was giving her directions about my garden party, about the decor and the menu, and she was asking questions.
Garden party?
I mean, she's always been good at taking directions, but she's never asked questions, and then she started making suggestions.
Unheard of.
I mean, they were very good suggestions, but...
Nonsense. She's a maid. We don't pay her to think. It's not in her breeding.
Quite right, Wedgie.
I'll hear no more of this. Show some backbone, Beatrice. Where's our tea? Will Marguerite successfully extract all of the pellets from Jeremy's behind? Will Beatrice show some backbone? And just who are Mariette and Julio? To find out, tune in to Mutiny at the Estate next week on Breakfast with... Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate, a story about what happens when the help decides to help themselves. At the Thistlewood Estate, Beatrice Goulston is in the throes of preparing a garden party to welcome spring. Husband Reginald has been refining his shooting style, and their servants Jeremy and Marguerite are planning to turn the tide. We pick up the story 3 days later as Marguerite and Jeremy discuss arrangements for a garden party that everyone will remember.
I'll be sure to bring out all of Madam's finest silver for the guests.
Don't bring all of it out, you fool.
Have you finalized the menu?
Yes. Stuffed vine leaves, a big spicy paella, and chipolatas for everyone.
Chipolatas? I'm not sure the gentry will be keen on that.
A pox on the gentry. They won't be within 20 miles of this stinking pile of...
What? I don't understand.
Harriet! Julio!
Yes, Mama.
Hispana publica con fate bombanda cabala. Si, con queste il fate del cantana. Julio?
See, Mama.
I do wish you would address them in English.
You use your tongue, and I shall use mine. Go and organize the gift bags.
Yes, Marguerite. Is the fire stoked to your satisfaction?
Yes. I've already added Madam's invitations. Maybe we can throw on a couple of Old English fools as well.
Soon enough. Julio, come here, son. Keep away from the flames.
Yes, Papa.
In the drawing room, Beatrice and Reginald are taking tea. What in the blazes is this? Beatrice, there's a notice in the paper about the proposed banning of firearms.
Ludicrous.
I'll say it's ludicrous. How else is one supposed to hunt game and keep the neighbours in line?
You know, Reginald, we could always order venison in from the market.
Nonsense. We've got perfectly good flanks ripe for the picking wandering our own land.
But there have been a number of shooting accidents of late.
Pistosh and tomfoolery. If people can't act responsibly around weapons, they deserve a good little wake-up battering.
Quite right, dear.
I refuse to be subject to inane laws that only serve to protect the stupid people. If good breeding doesn't sort out the gene pool, a good round of...
Please tell me you won't use my garden party as a platform.
Garden party? Perfect. We'll have a captive audience. I'll organise a rally.
But Reginald...
Capital idea, Beatrice. I'll speak to the hard fellows next door about mounting a campaign. I'll have Jeremy drive me there immediately. Jeremy?
But it's springtime, Reginald.
Springtime, yes. They would do this at the turn of season. Jeremy!
Yes, my lord.
Jeremy, fetch the Bentley. I need to visit Captain Hardfellow about some pressing business.
Yes, my lord. Would Sir prefer the black Bentley or the...
No, the silver Bentley. This is a business matter.
Yes, my lord.
Have you started cleaning my jewellery yet, Jeremy?
Just about to start, madam. I'll be sure to stow your jewels in a safe place, me lady.
Thank you, Jeremy. And tell Marguerite I'd like to speak to her about tonight's supper. Lunch was unusually spicy and has left Mr. Galston with a slight tummy upset.
Yes, me lady. I'll be sure she receives the appropriate feedback.
What exactly has Marguerite got in store for Beatrice's garden party? Will Reginald find an ally in Captain Hardfellow? And just what will the guest gift bags contain? All will come to a head next week on Mutiny at the Estate. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. It's the 4th week of spring and Beatrice Galston has organised a celebratory garden party for the local heads of society at Thistlewood Estate. Meanwhile, Reginald has been discussing plans with his neighbour, Captain Hardfellow, to overturn a local community council decision to ban firearms. We pick up the story on the afternoon of the party, as Reginald and Geoffrey revise their tactics. I say we all just show up at the next meeting and show them all how firearms were meant to be used.
Quite right. But how does one organise for a herd of deer to be present for the demonstration?
Dashed if I know where all of this namby-pamby tree-hugging politics has sprung from.
I advised them against rerunning Bambi at the local theatre last summer. I knew there'd be strife.
Just what you get for allowing aldermen of bad breeding to run the locality. All of this talk about fiscal management and social policy.
Boulder Dash.
When will they realise that no one can buy their way into society? One must be born into it.
Too right.
Reginald?
What is it, Beatrice?
Spiffing soiree, Mrs. Galston.
Thank you, Captain. Reginald, may I have a word?
Oh, certainly. Excuse me, old fellow.
Not at all.
What the devil is it, Beatrice? Can't you see I'm
a little concerned about the guests, Reginald.
What guests? All I see at the moment is a disproportionate number of Hispanic...
Precisely. Our doors opened an hour ago, and so far only 30 people, all of Hispanic persuasion, have arrived.
A ridiculous number of servants. Who authorised?
They are acting as though they are guests, Reginald.
Guests? Never heard such nonsense.
Thank you for such a wonderful party, Mr. and Mrs. Goldstone. And the gift bags are very generous.
That looks like my great-grandmother's diamond necklace.
Would Madam like a bite of my chipolata?
Oh, really? Take it away.
What the devil are those foreign finger foods doing on the menu?
And that's another thing. The menu doesn't at all resemble what I discussed with Marguerite.
Backbone, Beatrice. See what happens when you don't use a firm hand with the help?
I say, old boy, do you have anything other than tequila on the bar?
Tequila? What's going on here?
Your attention, please.
What is Marguerite doing up there?
Welcome to the Thistlewood Estate. Springtime Fiesta!
This is too much.
Thank you all for attending and for being in place so
In
quickly.
place?
You will all have your gift bag by now, and there is some beautiful silverware to collect on the way out. But first, Macarena!
Get your hands off me! Oh! I'll be speaking to your master, young man.
Reginald, those children.
Come to me, my children. Mother will be feeding you well tonight.
Children? What the... thank goodness. Jeremy.
Take Mariette and Julio inside, Marguerite. This is no sight for our children.
Your children?
Yes, madam.
Where do you want me to take the lady?
Take them both to the cellar.
No!
Oh, Jeremy!
Thistlewood Estate had never seen such happenings in its 700-year history. What do the servants have planned for the Golstons? Will Mariette and Julio be scarred by the events of the day? Will Beatrice regret turning down the offer of her guest's chipolata? Tune in to Breakfast with Andy next week for the next installment of Mutiny at the Estate. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. In the last episode, Marguerite and Jeremy, the two head servants at Thistlewood Estate, orchestrated a coup, overthrowing the heads of the household, Reginald and Beatrice Golston. We pick up the story a day after the Golstones were unceremoniously relegated to the basement of the manor house.
Oh, Reginald, it's so cold down here.
Stop your complaining, Beatrice. The room is perfectly climate-controlled.
That's if you're a bottle of wine. Why hasn't anyone come to rescue us?
Dashed if I know. The least that damn woman could do is feed us something decent. These leftover chipolatas are beginning to repeat on me.
Not to mention the other side effect. I really can't bear this, Reginald. Why would Marguerite and Jeremy do such a thing?
Contain yourself, woman. Who knows what makes the brains of servants tick? You give them a room and a good job and look how they repay you.
I would have thought Captain Hardfellow would have sent the police here by now. But these ropes are starting to irritate my...
Shush! She's coming.
I hope the two of you aren't too uncomfortable down here.
Now listen here.
Keep quiet. I have listened to you for long enough. It is time for you to listen to me.
What in the devil makes you think you...
Silence!
I think she's serious, Reginald.
And Madam can keep her mouth shut too.
Oh!
You can't keep us here indefinitely. You must tell us what you want of us.
Well, if you stopped butting in, I might have a chance to tell you that Thistlewood Estate is about to be reclaimed by its rightful owners.
Utter madness. The Golston family have owned this estate for hundreds of years.
That may be true, but you know as well as I do that before your family made this their home, there was another family here.
This is ridiculous, Marguerite. I demand that you free us at once.
Beatrice, now isn't the time to start using your firm hand.
Be quiet. I intend to keep you here for only one more day.
What?
Thank goodness.
By which time Thistlewood Estate will be mine.
You don't mean...
Yes, I am the last remaining descendant of Edward and Charlotte Mansfield. They were my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. The same people that Reginald and Eliza Goldstone tricked into leaving Thistlewood Estate.
Nonsense! How dare you imply that my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents would do such a thing?
You know as well as I do what happened between our great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather cheated in the last hand of poker he was playing with my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather and won this property under false pretenses. Without a penny, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents moved to Spain with great shame and rebuilt their lives. And it is only now, after working my fingers to the bone to save enough money by working for you, that I have hired a team of lawyers to take back what is rightfully mine.
That's ridiculous! My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather won that game with a hand of 3 kings. Your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather only had 2 queens.
Yes, but there were 2 other players that day, Belvedere and Constance Hardfellow. They passed their hands in. When the servants cleared the room after the game, they discovered that the Hardfellows had a king each in their hand. They wrote to my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, but it was too late. And now that I have a son and a daughter of my own, I promised that I would claim for them what is rightfully theirs. The deeds of the estate will be delivered to me tomorrow morning.
This is preposterous.
Maybe, but you are homeless now, Mr. Goldstone.
Oh, no! Please, Marguerite. Surely there must be something we can do
This is not up for negotiation, Mrs. Goldstone.
Well, the least you could do is undo these ropes. We're locked in down here. There's no possible way we could escape.
Yes, okay. I will do that one thing for you.
And get us something other than these damned chipolatas to eat.
You will eat what I bring you and be grateful. You are now my guest, not my master.
Will Marguerite get away with stealing back the land that was stolen from her family all those hundreds of years back? Will Reginald's digestive system cope with a diet of chipolatas? Will Reginald and Beatrice be able to escape the clutches of their renegade housemaid? For the answers to these questions and more, tune in next week for the next episode of Mutiny at the Estate. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. Reginald and Beatrice Golston have been captured by their servants Marguerite and Jeremy and are being held in the basement of Thistlewood Lodge. In the last episode, Marguerite revealed that she is the last remaining relative of Edward and Charlotte Mansfield, the original owners of Thistlewood Estate, who were duped by Reginald's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents into giving up the property, and Marguerite is in the process of claiming back what is rightfully hers. We pick up the story just after Reginald and Beatrice have had the ropes around their hands and feet removed.
Chardonnay or cab sauv, Beatrice?
Oh, Reginald, how can you think about wine at a time like this?
That blasted woman might take our home away from us, but I'll be damned if I let her drink all of my wine.
Reginald, look!
What?
Over here, Reginald. A door!
Of course it's a door, you silly...
But where does it lead?
My parents converted the basement into a bomb shelter during the war. That door comes in from... Good God, woman! That's brilliant!
What is it, Reginald? Tell me!
That door leads directly to the Hardfellows' basement next door! Come on!
Reginald and Beatrice slipped quietly through the door at the back of the basement and started making their way to freedom at Hardfellow Manor.
How much further, Reginald?
Not too much farther, Beatrice. Although I do get the feeling we should have veered right instead of left at the fork in the tunnel back there.
What's the difference, Reginald? We're still free from Marguerite.
Shh!
That is right. Everything. But they can keep their clothes. I have no need for bad taste.
Turn back, Beatrice. We've come the wrong way.
But, Reginald, I'm tired.
Better tired than the alternative. Get moving.
As the Golstons turned back to find the correct route into Hardfellow Manor, Geoffrey Hardfellow was receiving Constable Darcy in his drawing room.
I really have no idea about what this is all about. I snuck away from the garden party to find something other than tequila to sip at, and when I returned, everybody had left.
And the servants, they gave no indication of where the Golstons had got to?
Well, Marguerite mentioned they were down below and that I might like to join them.
Down below?
Well, I just assumed they'd taken off for Australia.
Australia?
Yes, down below. Australia.
I believe that would be down under, Mr. Hardfellow.
Well, I know that, but you know how these Hispanic people mix up their words.
Yes, of course. And what was that? It sounds like someone is knocking on the floor from beneath.
Nonsense. The old hatch to the cellar was carpeted over years back.
Hatch to the cellar?
Good Lord! It sounds like someone is trying to get through. Here. help me lift the carpet back.
Right you are.
Now, if I pull back this latch and we can... Reginald! Beatrice!
It's about time you responded. We were just about to turn back.
Now that the Golstons have escaped the clutches of Marguerite, will they be able to save themselves from financial ruin? What will happen when Marguerite discovers that Reginald and Beatrice have done the runner? Tune in next week when Mutiny at the Estate continues. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate, a story about what happens when the help decides to help themselves. Reginald and Beatrice Golston have been occupying Thistlewood Estate since Reginald's parents passed away, handing the family home and its servants, Jeremy and Marguerite, down in the traditional manner. Unbeknownst to the Golstons, their maid Marguerite and butler Jeremy had been hatching a plan to seize the property as their own, claiming it back for Marguerite, who is the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter and sole remaining relative of Edward and Charlotte Mansfield, the original owners of Thistlewood Estate, who were duped into leaving the property after Reginald's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather won the property by cheating in a poker match. Marguerite took the Golstons hostage at what was supposed to be Beatrice's welcome to spring garden party and locked them in the cellar while she waited for the arrival of the deeds to Thistlewood Estate. But Reginald and Beatrice escaped her clutches through a secret exit that took them directly to a hatch in the floor of Geoffrey Hardfellow's drawing room. The story continues just as Reginald has finished explaining Marguerite's plans to Geoffrey Hardfellow and Constable Darcy. So what you're telling me is that you have allowed your servants to keep you captive in your own house?
No, the woman has cracked, I tell you.
It took all our might to scurry through the dark passages below to get away. Can't you help us, Constable?
Well, as I see it, your family has been squatting on her property for a couple of centuries now.
Stop being so obtuse, young man. They held us against our will and
stole things.
Stole things?
Yes, all of our silverware and my grandmother's diamond necklace. I'll never forget the sight of it dangling around that Spanish man's hairy chest.
Enough with the damned necklace, Beatrice.
But Reginald!
Well, as I see it, dear fellow, Marguerite and Jeremy haven't stolen anything. The silverware was out for the party and the guests made away with it.
At her invitation?
Whose side are you on anyway, Hardfellow?
Oh, I think I hear the maid calling.
And who is this lawyer they've allegedly hired to...
How should I know? Probably one of her cousins.
What was
What's
that?
That?
Oh, there you are.
That's her, Constable. Grab her.
What are you talking about, Mr. Goldstone? I was in the cellar selecting a wine for your dinner tonight and noticed a draft. I had no idea that when I followed it, I would end up coming out of a hatch next door.
Madam, have you been holding Mr. and Mrs. Golston captive in their cellar?
Aha, certainly not. Mr. Goldstone often asks me to handcuff him.
That's enough, Marguerite.
Reginald!
The woman's talking nonsense, Beatrice. Well, come on, Darcy. Arrest her.
Oh, you are such a card, Mr. Goldstone. I will see you for dinner at the usual time.
Just a moment there, Marguerite, is it?
Yes, that is my name.
Mr. and Mrs. Golston are concerned that you might have hired a lawyer to evict them from Thistlewood Estate.
Oh, well, there is no need to be concerned. It is true. Mr. Gonzalez will be attending tomorrow at 9 a.m. to complete the transfer of title back to my family.
Marguerite!
What are you doing down there? I told you not to follow me.
Jeremy.
I thought I'd better tell
Can
you.
it not wait until I get back home? Who is looking after Mariette and Julio?
Mr. Gonzalez.
Ernesto? He's not due till tomorrow morning.
He's arrived early. Some complications.
Complications? I'll give him complications.
You had better come see him.
Jess. Once again, it is up to me to fix the world. It is impossible to get good help these days. If that is all, Mr. Darcy, I must leave.
That's Constable Darcy. Yes, that will be...
You're just going to let her go? Like that?
Where are you going, Mr. Golston?
I'm going to speak to this Gonzales fellow. And you're coming with me. Come on.
Will Reginald get to Gonzales in time to avoid losing Thistlewood Estate? Will Constable Darcy find any grounds to charge Marguerite? And just what are the complications Marguerite and Jeremy face in the appropriation of Thistlewood Estate? All will be revealed next week in the conclusion of Mutiny at the Estate. Breakfast with Andy presents Mutiny at the Estate. In the last episode, Reginald and Beatrice found a safe haven in the company of Geoffrey Hardfellow and Constable Darcy, not realizing that Marguerite had followed their path and suddenly appeared from the same hatch to reveal that she was indeed in the process of seizing Thistlewood Estate into her possession. It was at this moment that Jeremy appeared with news that Marguerite's lawyer, Ernesto Gonzales, had unexpectedly arrived early with news of complications. Back in the sitting room at Thistlewood...
Ernesto, what a surprise! I wasn't expecting you until...
I thought it was better to come and see you this evening rather than wait for tomorrow's meeting.
Oh, I hope there is nothing the matter.
I'm afraid I have discovered a minor complication in the process of transfer of Thistlewood Estate back to its rightful owner.
Being me.
Being you, that is correct.
Would you care for something to drink?
I'm afraid I do not have time for a...
Jeremy!
Yes, me love.
Get Mr. Gonzales a bottle of tequila.
I thought we understood I no longer take orders.
Just for old time's sake.
Yes, me love. Shall I decant the tequila, or will you be drinking it from the bottle again?
Whatever you please, just get it.
Yes, me love.
Now, Mr. Ernesto, where were we?
I was explaining my reason for being early, that there is a minor complication with the transfer of Thistlewood Estate into your name.
Yes, go on.
Well, you see, I have discovered that...
There they are. Arrest them.
On what grounds, Mr. Golston?
Break and enter.
I don't see any force.
Reginald, it's him!
What are you dribbling about now, woman?
That man! He's the one who took my grandmother's...
Enough with that necklace, Beatrice. Can't you see something important's at stake here?
But Reginald!
Cork it, Beatrice.
If you would excuse me, madam, I would like to return this necklace to you.
Oh, very good. You've got your damn jewels back. Now...
May I say you have beautiful eyes, madam.
Oh, well,
Don't let him put it on you, woman. You don't know where it's been.
thank you, Mr.
Ernesto, please.
What is going on here? Ernesto, you are here to see me. And that necklace was my gift to you.
As much as I appreciate the gift, Marguerite, the necklace was not yours to give. Just as this estate was not the Goldstones to inhabit.
What rot.
Mr. Gonzales, would you mind telling us all what is going on here?
I have come to visit Marguerite early to inform her of a small complication regarding the transfer of title for Thistlewood Estate back to her family.
Yes, tell me.
Your tequila, sir.
Not now, Jeremy.
Yes, Marguerite.
In preparing the document, I have uncovered some money owing.
Hola! That then must be mine too.
It is not money with the property, it is money owing for the property. It seems that the Goldstone family have not been paying taxes for the property since they took over the title. Until now, the local authorities have not known exactly who is responsible for the money, given the quick nature of the land transfer to the Goldstone family.
Ridiculous.
What are you saying, Ernesto?
The local shire has now identified that this money is due and require that it be paid before the transfer takes effect.
And how much is owing?
We have calculated that with arrears of land tax with cumulative interest over 280 years plus late fees, a sum of £420 million is due.
What?
Ha!
And what if I choose not to go ahead with the transfer?
The Goldstone family will have 28 days to settle the bill.
What?
Or face foreclosure.
No! Look what you've done, you stinking maid.
It is you who stink, Mr. Goldstone, and now you will suffer. If I cannot have Thistlewood as my own, I am happy to see you turned out on your saggy white...
So am I to understand that this matter is resolved?
Except that I'm now homeless. Stop your whining, woman. You're not the only one.
If Madam will forgive me for being so forward, but I will be happy to give you shelter until such time as you...
Perfect. See? We're not going to go without...
I said Madam is welcome, Mr. Goldstone. You, sir, are on your own.
Nonsense. She's my wife.
That, Reginald, is about to change.
Suffer, you English dog!
But where shall we live?
Stop your worrying! I've got us this far, have I
I'm
not?
afraid I only have one single bed.
I'm sure that will be fine. Well, that's that then. That indeed is that. With Reginald's life in tatters, Marguerite and Jeremy left without a place to house themselves and their children, and Beatrice embarking on a new tryst. Who knows what fate has in store for our friends? We'll leave that to your imagination. This has been the final episode of Mutiny at the Estate.